Okay.
Did not walk back from downtown yet. That's usually a thing I do. I don't know why. I just been car guy.
You didn't bring your rollerblades to head down the path like you and the bikini ladies might? Venice Beach? Never been a big rollerblade guy, have you?
I have not. My kids got rollerblades, and they went through that phase like Christmas Day and the day after, and I think they then hung them up and never used them again.
When's the last time your rollerblades got a spin, Jake?
I bet he went this week.
You know what? It's probably been since I stopped in like sophomore, junior year of high school.
Do you have high-end rollerblades?
Well, only for hockey. I was not.
Yeah.
I had like really super badass ones for hockey, but no, I was not, as we called, a fruit booter. That's what the skateboarders called the aggressive inliners.
A fruit booter.
Fruit booting.
Huh.
Is that a slur?
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Oh, okay. You're on two things that are going to keep you upright. That looks tough.
Yeah, there is something.
Tough drop in over there as I'm face planting on this skateboard.
There is something about the X Games world where every specialty sort of mocks the other specialties as not being as awesome and as extreme as their specialty, whatever it might be, right? If you're a BMX guy, you probably have a laugh at mountain bike racing guy and so forth and so on down the line. I don't know. Skateboard guy, that's probably the top of the mountain.
Skateboard man.
Half pipe guy.
So
fruit booters.
I think we're going to be on. Blake set us up on the Twitch and the YouTube again. If you want to look at us
Thank goodness.
Look at Lyle Collins later on today.
What's up, Ninja?
In our segment called "What Are You, a Cowboy?" And I wanted to say,
What are you, a cowboy?
Was looking at the Twitter. And Tony, the engineer. Are you familiar with Tony being with us on this trip here?
Boy, after yesterday, who could be more familiar?
Tony is getting a lot of play. Man, you're just finding wherever Tony goes, all of a sudden things gravitate towards him. Remember the compound?
I do.
And Tony was a huge – in fact, I think in the end voted MVP. That might have been a pity vote because everybody felt sorry for him about the – air quotes, difficult prank that was pulled on him.
No, Tony's on a Kepka.
Even though that's like a daily thing that happens to Jake.
He's on
Tony almost cried, so we're like, okay, you're the MVP.
He's on like a Kepka-type run in 2019.
I can kind of say this stuff because even though he's engineering and the segment is turning his way, he's not paying attention at all. But I did want to make note of the fact. So Donovan gave me a video of Tony on the dance floor the other night. And certainly, I hope you've heard the story by now, but Tony really lit it up in Malibu.
Do we have any new Tony drops, Mino? Because there were a couple. I was hearing a few on the hard line last night that I wanted to claim if they didn't.
From the Drunk Tony audio?
Yeah.
Might have a few new Corbys, too.
Yeah, you might. But Tony slurring, I think the phrase, golf is sacred, was pretty funny.
You have a Saturday morning tea time.
But Tony on the dance floor. Tony, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, Tony, the engineer. You know him very well from dance.
Huh?
Don't point at Bob. Whose show do you think this is?
That's right.
Well, I don't know.
That's right.
I guess the power chair has been correctly identified. Only if I point at Bob.
Talk to the power chair. Ask him.
Bob nodded his approval, and Tony turned on his mic.
Oh, I did?
Well,
okay.
I didn't want to hear, well, can you turn your mic on again or something? He always says something funny.
I know. That really hurts. That cuts deep.
Hey, Tony,
I can't believe you could even take it as many times as you had so far.
Tony, could you join us on the air?
That one.
That's a drop.
Mino's not even in here.
Anyway, Tony on the dance floor. So I put that video out there on the Twitter, right? Right, Tony?
Right.
Acknowledge that I said that?
I didn't know you were talking to me.
Answer to the power chair.
Yeah, it's difficult to ascertain that I was talking to you when I said, hey, Tony, come on the air. Please turn on your microphone. And then we talked for 2 minutes about how Bob didn't want you to turn on your microphone. I could see where you were confused as to who I was talking to.
All right.
Still sound a little foggy there, Tones.
It's only been 2 days.
Yeah, I hear you.
It takes a little while to recover, right, at your age?
Getting older.
What are you, Tony? You're plus 50, right? Well, how old are you?
59.
59. 10
Yeah.
years away from perfection.
There you go.
Are you a cowboy?
Not sure what that means.
Jeez.
Anyway, put this video on Twitter, Tony. I want you to know. So you think about yourself and, how many people are watching this dance. And, boy, I'm embarrassed by this.
Very much so.
Says here, 19,000 views
On what?
I'm good for 1,000.
on the Tony video.
You have number of views?
Yeah, he does.
Go ahead and put on your readers. Take a look at it.
I don't see the 19,000 anywhere.
All right. Well, you're an idiot. It's right there. 19,000. 19K. Do you know what K means?
Oh, okay. I was looking at that stuff.
I've been
below.
watching it over the last couple of days, and I couldn't believe when it hit 1,000.
Let's see how far we can get that thing.
Oh, boy.
19,000 people have watched you drunk on the dance floor.
Everybody needs to retweet
Gee, thanks,
that.
Dan.
We need to see if we can get that into 6 figures today. Don't you think?
Not really.
6 fig views, Dan? Isn't that what we're looking for?
That's viral.
Your power of
Is that
Twitch
the
should be able to make it viral.
50 club? What is?
Well, yeah, we need 100,000 for 6 figs.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, we're off to a good start today.
Or comma? What is it? Trace. What was the shirt you had?
Comas.
Tres Comas.
Okay. So we need dose. Dose? One. Who knows?
Well,
I don't know what we need.
Tres Comas would be how much?
More than 6 figs.
Yes, it
But that's
would.
why I know we need some, but we don't need trace.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, 19,000 views so far on Tony's video, and hopefully that can climb. Congrats, Tony. And once again, mixing Tony plus alcohol equals Ticket Radio. At the second consecutive Ticket big thing. Later today we have audio as well, if we can work it in. We have a crow line at 1:30.
Oh, yeah?
But we're moving it to 2:30.
Yes.
And I don't know what we're doing. Do we have a plan as far as the What Are You, a Cowboy? We expected to land at 1:30, and now apparently they're like doing yoga, like Bob.
It's skewing later
You were
and
telling
later.
me that yoga, you have actually tried it, and you approve. Bad Back Guy approves of yoga.
I have. Are we doing yoga talk here?
Do you have yoga thoughts?
I do. I didn't know if we were ever going to talk about it, but I was categorically against yoga just on the premise that the word sounded ridiculous and the overall premise that it seemed really trendy. It seemed like the avocado toast of its office, and there were some things that were troubling with me in yoga.
Does it also seem like you'd be doing it with a group of ladies that were doing jazzercise a couple
Yeah,
months ago?
and maybe you're trying your best to make sure
Pilates?
you don't have an involuntary gas attack or something while you're in a room of ladies in yoga pants. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You guys are too uptight, man.
Well,
Categorically.
I would like to say that I have not joined a room of ladies for this yoga experience, and
It's fun.
I'm pretty sure yoga is just called stretching. For the
Yeah,
most
but
part,
for the most part, when people stretch,
Call
they
it
stretch
yoga,
for
and you
like-
could charge $80 for it, or
probably. Although I think the whole point with yoga and what makes a difference, and maybe Jake is about ready to say this, is it's stretching, but for long enough time that it actually has a positive effect on your body, whereas we all grew up stretching long enough for the coach to get off our rear end, which usually was like 45 seconds, and then we would start playing sports, and you're not sure it ever had a great effect, but you also, weren't pulling a muscle.
at that age, you didn't really have to stretch. It didn't seem.
This
You're ready
seems
to roll.
to me to be about lots of stretching, lots of breathing, maybe a little downtime, a little you time.
Does
Dan?
this get you away from the phone?
Yeah.
Get
And
your head cleared? You think of bits?
and it clearly makes my back feel better. There's no doubt about it. Now, I only do it the YouTube
Which is
way,
the end
which
result.
is probably cheating, Jake. Like if the only yoga you've ever done is by yourself watching it on a YouTube screen with
That's how I started.
with Adrienne or whatever her name is, then then that's all I'm doing. But you're saying you actually meet with other people for this?
I have, yeah. And then like the class I go to for just at the gym does like 15 minutes of it. But yeah, I've been to a class with Kristen before. There's 25 people in this place. It's hot as hell,
Yeah.
and it's
Did
taxing.
Did you rip one by accident?
I did not, but I don't think anybody would care. I mean, I think that's pretty normal.
It's taxing.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I was drenched at the end of the hour.
Really?
End of the hour, dude. I mean,
I thought you said it was 15
drenched.
minutes.
Well, it could
I've been
be
to an hour
however
class,
you.
yeah.
Oh,
most of them
okay.
are that, yeah.
Could be however long you make it. And I'm sure I'm doing super basic stuff, but it's made a real difference for me. Like that foam roller.
I have great interest.
The foam roller for the back feels more like a relief for a small amount of time. Whereas
Yeah, it feels a little better now.
Whereas this feels more like you're probably actually doing some good.
You want to do a super rich guy move?
What's
You
that?
got to get the vibrating foam roller.
Really?
It's
That's a super rich lady move.
unbelievable.
I don't want to get one of those for my house because I'll never
It's
see
just-
it again.
It's a massage.
I think
Incredible.
I think as a Clydesdale, which is what they called us big lummoxes,
Big
like
clunky men.
in the marathon world, when I ran the White Rock, I was in the Clydesdale division. I'd never been called a Clydesdale before, but they look at you and like, oh, this guy's a Clydesdale. And that basically means, I don't know, over 6 feet and over like 200 pounds or something like that.
That does not mean gazelle.
So yes, you're not stallion. They didn't say, oh, go stand by the other stallions. They said, go stand by all the lummoxes. And if you're in that division
you're
in
a
life,
snuffleupagus.
if you're in that division in life and you're getting older, chances are you're amongst the least flexible humans on the planet. And I think,
Yeah, I feel like I'd have to do the YouTube thing before going to a class,
yeah,
like to ease myself into it.
right. And so you can just opt out of anything that is just impossible for you, because the girls that are at the front of these rooms, that they're amongst the most flexible humans on the planet. And so their body goes in certain directions that yours, you just laugh at. Like, there's no way. So it's
Dan,
great.
I think you need to twitch yourself going to a class. I would watch that.
You feel like that would up the viewership exponentially?
You would
Oh,
lap
for
Tony.
sure.
I'll tell you what, though.
No one's lapping Tony, bro.
In a leotard or something.
This feels to me like an exact replica of my sushi journey, where for my whole life I was trained that the word sushi
It was gross.
is
slimy,
ridiculous and gross and
yeah.
silly, and only people you won't like are into it. And then I tried it, and now I'm addicted to it. And then 7 or 8 years later, somebody said, "Just trust me on yoga. Just try it." Just
So you're really into it.
a couple times a week, and I think it's especially when I'm heavy into golf. You wake up and you feel horrible, and then you do that and you feel great. So.
Could this be my yoga weekend? Could I break the seal on yoga?
You're in
Probably
the right
not.
spot. In
You
Cali.
think?
Oh, yeah.
Beach yoga.
They have a
Sure.
thing in the hotel gym
Broga.
where they have a,
It might be Broga.
but they have the touchscreen, big screen TV in the gym, and there's no one ever in this gym, except for one old lady was in there yesterday. She didn't want to have anything to do with
Did you
me.
try to race her?
Yeah, I was trying, but they
Race.
Hit the nos.
they have a big touchscreen TV, and you could hit. It says you could touch for YouTube or whatever. I guess you put up your classes there, and you could do your little class right there in the gym.
Well, yeah, probably.
You could search YouTube.
The
TV.
thing about YouTube, yes, and the thing about it is, I guess there are 1 million different ways to do it, and so I find lower back.
you search yoga, lower back.
lower back pain. That's what
Also, I'd recommend starting in your room, Dan.
yeah.
Because the time that you think there's no one in there is the time there's going to be 5 people.
Or
and one,
someone-
it takes up a lot of space, and 2, it kind of looks ridiculous.
Or one
Like
of
if
us,
they walk in as I'm doing the
or one of us set up
and you're
like our,
just stuck.
our iPhone slow motion cam.
Right.
my legs over my head.
Right. Yeah.
That's probably going to be level 2, the leg over your head thing. Although you might start with just straight somersaults and just find it's wonderful. I don't know. All right, so let's get the show started. That was our exclusive coverage of yoga here on The Ticket. Coming up next, some NFL Today featuring All or Nothing.
10 and 96.7 FM, The Tick.
Killer.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, I'm here to tell you why Black Friday is evil. We've had two critical shootings, a bomb threat, actual bomb discovered in Creekville, Cave Creek, Arizona. A bomb was found in a Walmart, and then in another Walmart in San Andreas, California, a woman got pissed off and fired off pepper spray, and 15 people were injured. And I have failed, and I'll leave you alone.
No, that was good, Killer. Nailed it.
Log on to theticket.com's contest page. Register, win round-trip transportation to Houston or Austin on Corby's favorite mode of transportation, a Von Lane luxury motor coach, where you arrive minutes before departure, get assigned seats with tons of legroom, a huge list of complimentary amenities, and convenient arrival right in downtown Austin or Houston. All right. That was good, Killer. Nailed it. We're out here at Cowboys training camp.
That's
So,
called the drop third strike.
hold on, buddy. What are you, a Cowboy? Will feature, understand, two giant individuals in this tent.
Starting left tackle and starting right tackle on the same show at the same time. This could be horrible. Or it could be good.
My forecast is for not good. But I like to lower the expectations.
Just
and
as
then, if they actually say any syllables, I'll be happy.
Could we pull the curtain back for a moment and just say, as a general rule, one professional athlete interviews usually work out pretty good. We can take turns. Like Antoine Woods yesterday worked out really well. You have like a two-man strategy. I throw lobs. Dan goes and gets them and dunks them, or whatever.
You probe one guy, and you could kind of maybe open him up after a little while, after working him.
We have found, and it might be our show, it might be us, we have found the two-man interview, see Ben and Sagan, or things of that nature, generally go very, very poorly because partly they're sort of performing for each other.
And
They're
one is
sort
the
of-
protector of the other sometimes.
Maybe.
You're trying to open that guy up, and that guy he's pushing against you.
Yeah, so sometimes
I think it's going to be terrible.
It
Tune
mi-
in today at
It might be.
1:30.
Now, we didn't request it. We requested Tyron, and apparently Tyron generally has a bit of a caddy on his interviews. And so let's keep an open mind and some positivity, and maybe it's going to be amazing.
Am I allowed to talk to Lyle or no?
No. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well,
tough guy.
you can, but you have to come out here first and say it to his face.
Like, what would you even want to talk to him about? I don't even understand.
Well, I might have someone with me.
As you and TC sit back there and giggle behind your little microphones from 1,000 miles away.
So the guy has different eating habits than I do.
Well, no. The other way.
Let's just carry on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
He dates people with different eating habits.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's like you ever date a vegetarian? Similar to
Right.
that, you got to –
Yeah.
your whole life kind of changes.
So on to NFL today.
All right. And that's going to feature All or Nothing. Now, that's the show on Amazon Prime. Tough to keep track of all these shows. In fact, did Hard Knocks drop yet or no?
No.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
The first Hard Knocks will be Tuesday, so it's tough to – man, last year, All or Nothing, I thought, did it more right. They released it a few months before training camp, or at least a couple months, right?
May.
We had time to watch it and
Right after
spread our legs.
Right after the draft, All or Nothing Cowboys 2017 dropped.
And now we've got to kind of rush this. It feels a little weird. But being out here at training camp, I like reading football books, reading that Bill Walsh book, and I like watching football shows. So, although I did not watch, I understand Thursday Night Football was actually on last night.
It was.
There's real NFL football.
I
I did not
am
tune in.
prepared to discuss it with you if you'd like.
Well, I TiVoed it, so wait a couple weeks till I get back home and watch it.
Man, what are we going to do about Drew Lock?
So, All or Nothing is about the Panthers last season. And it's getting good. It's got a good amount of Cam. Cam is entertaining enough to me and perplexing enough to me, in fact, even in this world where we're trying to decide what to give Dak, and Dak will certainly be making more than Cam pretty soon. And it's like Dak has so many things going for him that Cam doesn't, in my opinion. But then Cam has other things that like can't be taught. That that's why you want a Cam. He's like the most unbelievable athlete ever. He's statuesque. He's like LeBron to basketball, right? Like a man his size should not be able to do what he's doing.
Yeah, the problem, I guess, with that is there are certain positions in sports. Quarterback is one of them where athleticism and just the stature of somebody doesn't have hardly anything to do with whether they're great at it.
Well, I mean, it's a good starting point. If you have all those things.
Probably.
Now, if I added, Drew Brees' mentality or
Drew Brees is a human.
Dak's mentality, maybe, or.
Drew Brees looks like a waiter. And he's like one of the 5 best to ever do it, maybe.
Yeah. And Romo was very good despite his stature. But
I appreciate that Cam can truck a linebacker. I just don't know that necessarily equates to being a technician of his craft.
But I want to get into some of the other audio, and I think it kind of relates to not only Cowboys but probably just the NFL in general. And there's a couple of guys I want to talk about. I'll do the first one here because it's shorter.
Okay.
Yet it won't be chronological. This is from episode 6. And episode 6 is they had ended, I think, the last episode with the going for 2. Or maybe episode 6. They're going for 2 versus Detroit, down 2019 with a minute left in the fourth. That does not work out. And it's yet another game where they had lots of mistakes and kind of had to come from behind, right?
Correct.
And that's been a theme here with this year's Panthers.
Right.
So they're in the post game. And I think this is Devin Funchess.
Yep.
And he gets into an argument with a reporter. At first, he had a bad game. But a lot of the other people were kind of asking about his game, and he was trying to defend himself by kind of saying, I'm one of 53 guys. He was very defensive.
It may also be relevant, maybe not, that he's Tony. It may also be relevant that he's a Michigan Wolverine, Dan, and they're back in Detroit, so I don't know if he...
Oh, yeah, they kind of made a big deal about it before, right? Like, heading back to your hometown.
Back home, yeah.
Want to have a great game and all that. So
there you go.
After the game, then, he's feeling bad, but you have to understand that they had been just kind of targeting him in all these questions when you hear this woman's question, and listen to his answer.
I think not putting it on you at all or specifying you, but I think it's hard to win on the road when there are collectively that many mistakes, especially in the first half. Would you agree with that?
Have you seen the Eagles game? Did you watch the Eagles game? Mm-hmm. Any of you guys? What happened in the fourth quarter?
Came back.
Okay, so let me tell y'all about football. That's how football works. No game has ever been won in the first half. Y'all good? Thank you. I'm good. I'm good.
So he's, I'm going to teach you about football, dumb female reporter, because it doesn't matter what happens in the first half. Because they had won a game previously, in fact, the very last episode, again, they're in a big hole, but they dug themselves out of it and had a late comeback, and they won. One doesn't always mean because I dug myself out of a hole, I should do that for every game. That's a terrible argument. And my theme here with looking at Hard Knocks for these 2 episodes is going to be, do some of these guys get it? So Devin Funchess is yelling at reporters saying that after the game. And then in their team meeting that week, here's Ron Rivera seemingly contradicting him.
All right, tough one. Just the way it is, guys. It's the nature of the game. Understand that there's certain things and certain elements of these games that we got to control. I went for 2 because I believe we could win the game at that point, and I wanted the ball in our guy's hand. I wanted to give us that opportunity to walk out as winners from the beginning. And I believe you got to make your plays early in order to win games. Not going to wait to win. We're going to go out and win games.
So basically he's saying, look, it doesn't matter what you do in the first half. You dig yourself a 19-point hole, you can't dig out of that. And I just wonder sometimes if the next segment I'm going to prove this even way further, do these guys, some of these guys just listen at all? Are they, and that's...
It's called being coachable. It's called, being interested in improving yourself where good enough is not good enough. You want to be the best you can be. It's an easy cliche, but no, you're dead on. The theme of this show and many behind-the-scenes episodes or topics like this come back to the real truth that, yes, you can make the big leagues in life. You can become a rich man playing sports, and you can still be underachieving relative to how good you could be if you put in a little more time or a little more attention to detail, or you were a little tougher on yourself that good enough is not going to be good enough for you.
And is it getting to this level when you never had to do that?
Right.
Certainly in Little League or high school, probably even college.
You can get by on talent.
I walked in and I was the best on my team then, and I was they were trying to target me, the other team was, and it always worked out. And guess what? Coaches were telling me that then.
Right.
And I didn't listen. And it worked out. To me, and the next segment will really prove, I really think a lot of this makes me think of Dez. Because Dez, you, media, somebody would say, boy, you look at that film and there's some things to clean up. There are things you can get better at. And he would say, I was looking at a guy destroying. I'm looking at a guy doing great here. I just signed a $50 million deal, and people have been telling me this all my life. Why do I need to listen?
And you're surrounded by people all day long that are telling you how great you are, and that anybody who doesn't tell you how great you are must be a hater. So we need to throw up the X on them.
All right, I got a lot of really good audio from in the next segment, which relates to this, and that's what we'll do on the ticket here at Cowboys Training Camp.
With Zeke Elliott, it's always something. This year, a training camp holdout. Not holding out from Cowboys camp is the entire ticket team. Here, now. Brought to you by Metter Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, North Texas Tollway Authority, and Sports Radio 1310 and 96.7 FM The Tick.
So we're at Cowboys training camp. We've just been informed that the Rangers are still playing baseball, Bob. This just in. In fact, they've played multiple games in the past week. We will confirm or deny that with C.J. Nitkowski in the next segment. He requested we move up to 1:15, which is going to work out real nice for our clock because I wanted to do a little more All or Nothing, the TV show about the Carolina Panthers season last year, behind the scenes. So a lot of this is they just had cameras rolling in those meeting rooms all year long, and then if something ever came out of it, they would let us have it, and they are doing so. So this particular episode was episode 5. Starts out with Ron Rivera's wife leading a drinking game while they're playing the game. How many times she gets to see Ron on camera, they have to drink.
They seem like they're doing well, the Riveras.
I like Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it hurts calling him Riverboat Ron when you when you start playing football in the statistically correct way, like going for 4th and 1 or something when the numbers say you should, yet you're called Riverboat Ron because that's so crazy in this world of
you're leaving
the
NFL.
norm,
whether it's
but you're not a gambler. You're doing things the way you should have been doing it, but they frame him as being this insane mad scientist.
Do you remember when that nickname first took off and he was asked about it, what his
No.
answer was? He was asked about it and he's like, yeah, I don't love it. I prefer Analytical Ron. Like, I don't know if that's as catchy.
Okay,
there,
so he thinks
Ronald.
exactly like I do, but
yeah,
it is a little catchier. You know, I mean, if you're going to be Moscow Mitch, you're going to be Moscow Mitch. Am I right, Jake?
You are right.
All right, let's go to they're going to play the Steelers. And, boy, you're worried about the Steelers, Antonio Brown, right?
Do you remember that triple play?
Who triple played them? Me? You?
It was part of my Thursday night triple play series.
Did that one not work out for you?
Oh, no. They lost by like 4 touchdowns. That one came in very nicely.
Okay, so
going into that game, everyone saw that one.
Have we adjusted our rules this year? We're not allowing Bob to triple play?
Not allowing me to win?
Well, they had to tiger-proof the course, you know. Let's Bob-proof this game a little bit. Make it fair for all of us, you know. Anyway, they're going to play the Steelers, and leading up to the game, they're showing particular concern for Dante Jackson, who is a rookie and who has like 4 picks up to this point, which is pretty great, right?
He's a nice player.
But they're noticing holes in his game that they're trying to fix.
He may not have invented football as a rookie.
And sometimes I think they even might say it here, somewhere they say it, that, you know, the interceptions can mask that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rain can mask your foundation problems, Bob. Sometimes there's actually something wrong. Well, you keep doing this wrong. It's going to bite you. I've been around. I can see it. But he keeps getting picks, so then it's like, well,
I was going to say, speaking of analytics, it's possible that interception totals are not a great way to analyze a cornerback. Some great corners.
No more than fumble recoveries.
Maybe great corners may have 0, and lousy corners may have 5.
Because no one's thrown at that great corner because the guy's locked up, right?
Or gambling to get interceptions is actually bad for the team.
In the long run.
Right.
When you play it all out. Anyway, so here they're in the film room, and I think a couple coaches are arguing with him about this very subject.
There's just concern about focus, that's all.
Ain't no concern about no focus. I just feel like y'all concerned because I'm a rookie. Like, y'all ain't nobody got to be nervous about me. At all.
Well, I don't think it's a rookie. I think it's the fact that you're a starter.
I don't know. I ain't nobody that need to be worried about. I'm going to play every time I get out there. I'm going to up, but I'm going to play. I'm going to ball.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you're not.
That's the frustrating part about it, because like y'all baby me.
No,
it's just the fact that I'm out there. Like you said, a lot of shit's running through my head. I might forget to backpedal, be square sometimes, but like at the end of the day, like I'm out there, like it's
Here's the thing.
I just feel like y'all just way like.
I get what you're saying, but here's the thing: in professional football, you can't. That's just the reality of it. It's like you just.
I know you can't.
You can't.
I don't go out on the field with them other 10 dudes to up.
Oh, I know.
I don't go on the field to forget to go over or forget to chase.
I know you don't do it. I
just feel like y'all be way too nervous. Like just like relax. Like I feel like I'm gonna be alright, but I feel like the more like extra that's just gonna make me more nervous.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
Like I'm good. Like I'm fine.
Okay. Well, here's the thing: the mistakes, if you want to call them that, obviously those are just things that can't happen. The unforced errors. That's all. All right. So now we're here. We're good.
It's so weird. Like I'm sure.
I've never heard anyone who doesn't get it more.
Vince Lombardi's roll number is great or something great, right? Because like he's the coach and he's like, all right, let me back up. Then I'm sorry. Don't want to. I realize I'm kind of offending you here, so let me just say, I mean, mistakes. I mean, if you want to call them mistakes, I'll call them happy accidents. They're little trees or
this
bushes.
Is the extreme, by the way.
Yeah.
We've
I'm sorry to say this. But I'm just saying.
We've debated this for as long as you and I have been doing a show.
Right? Do you treat him like man?
Where you have?
Yeah, this guy might need to be screamed at.
You have the red arse coaches over here that nobody likes because they sound really mean, and you wouldn't want to play for them, and they're talking down to you. And
although, is he listening to that guy any more than this guy?
And then the other side, we'll never know, will we? Because that guy would have cut him. Or he would have said,
right. Well,
I don't want.
And I feel like
we're not drafting this clown.
I feel like this guy is kind of heading in that direction. He will be cut in the future, and then his next team will be like, well, maybe he gets it now. You know what I mean? Like
no, but this is everywhere. This is everywhere because we've decided, and again, I'm not saying it's wrong to have decided that actually instructing a player in sports. Has to be done.
Apologetically instructing. I'm sorry.
Well, this is a position coach.
Now
this
need you to back up.
This position coach is on his own level of thin ice.
Yeah.
Don't know if you got to that episode.
Oh.
No spoilers. But you know, these coaches are instructed to get him to do what we need him to do.
But think if that was your calling, if you were instructed to get him to listen to you,
how would you do it?
That's what I mean. Is it screaming in his face? I don't think that would work either.
Okay, but let's start here.
How about this?
He's never been coached.
Right.
He went through LSU clearly without ever having been coached hard.
This is leading to this piece of audio. All right, if you're out of answers, maybe he'll listen to one of his peers. And they pull aside a couple players, and they're like,
call
hey,
in 10-year veterans, Mike Adams and Captain Munnerlyn.
Can you guys talk to him for a little bit? Because he's just not listening to anyone else. Will he listen to
player to player?
Well, I don't know if he will.
I need you to lock in. I know you keep saying like the mistakes, it won't happen again. I only tell you once, but it's starting to repeat, and the picks is starting to hide it. But one thing it can't hide from us, cause we're on the field. And I told you, bro, you got the potential to be the best. Damn good at this shit, bro. For real, bro. I seen it before. You know what I mean? And I want you to be great. And you got to understand that. So everything I'm saying is coming from a great place. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be doing my job if I let shit slide like this. You can't be getting lazy, bro.
You catching picks. You making plays. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. You making plays. But this week, they going to target you. They going to target that boy. He going to talk shit. He going to try to get in your head. And don't be no buddy with him neither. That's when he know he got you. Mm-hmm. Don't be like, oh man, what's up, bro? That.
No good game.
No good game with a good catch. Don't do that with him. That's when he know he got you.
Can't do it.
You. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
They're from the, no, we're not trading jerseys with the guy who just had 8 catches for 160 and 2 touches on you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they're trying to tell him don't get into that.
It's a freaking hustle, you idiot. Understand the hustle. He is trying to take your wallet.
Well, let's see if he's listening to them any more than he listens to the
Oh,
coach.
okay, spoiler.
Bro, you got too much potential, bro, to be letting yourself just, you know what I'm saying?
With all due respect, I feel where y'all coming from, but like a man, I'm my biggest critic on I'm hard on myself, and I understand y'all see that I don't quite know because y'all OGs, but like you know what I'm saying, I take this day by day. You know, I take
this makes me think of Dez so much because like it's like, you know, with all due respect, I'm a big critic of myself, so you can't criticize me. Well, no, you're.
I think Dez is probably not far from that. I think also a large portion of athletics is like this. I think a large portion of really, really, really talented dudes who have a hard time having anyone tell them that they could do something better than they can figure it out on their own. And
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, and by the way,
because they always have.
Part of the coach.
I've defied people my whole life, and now I'm making millions of dollars.
Right.
And now another guy is telling me, but let's keep operating the way I have been. That's got me here.
That's kind of human nature.
It is, and that's why it's underrated to say part of the coaching player experience is a player trusting that the coach has seen enough guys like me that I believe he's not trying to ruin me. He's trying to improve me, even though in the short term he's going to screw with my jump shot. He's going to mess with my pitching wedge. He's going to do this with whatever, with my skating technique. And I have to trust him that this is going to suck, but the long-term return is going to be worth it. And I have to humble myself with an authority who may understand this a little better than 21-year-old me and say, okay, I trust you.
But I think being pulled aside by guys who are actually out there in the battle with me might have more an impact, on at least to me. But it doesn't seem to be having it on
Correct.
Dante,
because you can't tell me anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I take this day by day. You know, I take this serious just as anybody else. You know, and it's kind of getting frustrating because people see how I'm playing, and y'all ain't the first people to come talk to me. It's like I can't even have a conversation with my no more. Cause everybody just want to be like, hey, bro, stay focused, stay humble, don't get complacent. Like I understand that. Like I know what I didn't put myself into. I know what my game, my film, and didn't put myself to. Like now I'm checking damn near one of the best players in the league. You know, this Thursday. Like I said, but all due respect, I hear where y'all coming from, but trust me, now this ain't nothing more important than this to me. I promise y'all.
See, he's taking it as a criticism of his seriousness towards the matter.
Right.
And that's a valid criticism, but that's not really what we're saying here, dude. We're not saying you don't care. We know you care. We're saying you just don't understand how to...
You can care as much as anybody, and if you miss the details that get us beat in a league where the margin is an inch...
Right. Like, that's where I think the message is being lost here.
We gotta get ready to go, but all that goes away if you keep repeating the same shit. Yeah. And I understand you're gonna be good and you all that, but us three, we gonna sit you down and be like, nah, you ain't that good. Nah. Until you shut some down, nah, bro. Right. And we here to see you dominate. What I told you, a number 2 receiver shouldn't eat. Now you got a number 1.
Thursday night football.
So if you want to get, so me and Luke in there watching film, and we can watch whatever you want to do. Let's do it. If you want to break, let's do it, bro. Because just got real. Yeah. Listen. I'm talking about you do this on yeah, you do this on Thursday night football. We got to go 8. Everybody watch. Oh my God, bro. Ain't no lazy bro. Nothing.
Jump cut to the Steelers putting a 50 burger on them.
Oh man, the guys are right. Everybody saw this coming, and it did.
It's hard being a rookie in this league. I mean, the other rookie in this show is DJ Moore, and every time they show him, he's fumbling.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are superstars at the college level, and they show up and they think, I've always been great, I'll be great here. And then you get here and you find out everyone's great here. And now it's who is willing to watch another hour of film? Who's willing to work on their technique with the jugs gun when coach isn't telling you to? I mean, there's a certain amount of... It's not about passion. Anyone who's in the NFL has passion for it, but now it's the process. It's allowing somebody to help you, even though you've been able to get by on your own all the way to this spot in the journey.
It's a great show.
It really is.
It's. I remember you saying long ago, "Boy, this Hard Knocks is great. Wonder if they'd ever do it during the season." And now we got that. It's
beautiful.
It is.
All right. Let's talk to CJ Nitkowski. Catch up on the Rangers week and the trade deadline next.
This is Sports Radio. Diamond Talk after tonight's Rangers home game, live from the Social House in Arlington at Champions Park on Collins and I-30. Brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu, the Frisco Rough Riders, and Sports Radio 1310 and 96.7 FM The Tick.
CJ Nitkowski. CJ Nitkowski. CJ Nitkowski.
And here, Mino, brought to you by
Tylock, George Laser Eye Care, and Lawn Smith Roofing and Construction.
Now, is this the hotline or the training camp guests? Jake, what would you say?
Let's go hotline.
On the Buyer's Barricade ticket hotline. Here he is, the one and the only, CJ Nitkowski. Hi, CJ.
What's going on? How you guys doing?
We're all just trying to figure this out on the fly. Forgive us.
Well, no problem. Yeah, busy day.
All right,
Busy
now,
day.
I'm sure there are some very pressing Ranger issues, but I've been waiting all week to talk to you about surely the best fight of 2019 and possibly one of the greatest fights for as long as any of us can remember.
Are you talking Reds Pirates?
I am talking Reds Pirates, and I also will have to concede I don't have near the baseball Rolodex that Mr. Nitkowski has. In fact, he's engaged in a big one or two over the years, and therefore perhaps he could lend us some perspective on where this should rank in our thoughts on how awesome and big a fight that truly was.
Yeah, it was a pretty big one. I mean, it wasn't as big as that one. I think I've talked to you guys about this one before, but when I was a member of the Tigers in 2000, we had a pretty big one with the White Sox.
Yes.
That ended with 16 players suspended for a total of 82 games. So this one didn't quite get there. Yeah, this one didn't get. There was 3 times that benches cleared. So it was, and Doug Roquel was involved, our pitching coach from the last couple of years here with the Rangers, and it was a fun one. But this one was, it was. I feel bad sometimes saying it was pretty good, but it was pretty good. I mean, nobody got hurt, so I guess it was okay that we say that. But it was wild, and we claim. So I went to St. John, so we claim Amir Garrett as one of our own, even though he was only a basketball player at St. John's. He actually did not play baseball there. But
really?
Amir Garrett, we really claim him now as our guy. Yeah, but so he is a part of the St. John's family for sure.
So
Well, that's a weird path to the bigs.
Yeah, I was going to say what a talent to be able to pull that off and not play college baseball, huh?
It's one of the great things about being left-handed. You can really do things untraditionally and still find yourself in the big leagues.
But he did challenge the whole Pirates bench, it looked like, and did not. Like, we make fun of baseball fights because, you're in the box and you're hoping the catcher holds you back. And, boy, if he didn't hold me back. I allege Bautista didn't really ever want a piece of Odor, right? Bautista thought, someone will hold me back before I have to take a fist to the face. And, baseball players usually talk bigger than they are, but not Amir Garrett.
Sure.
Props to him.
No.
And it looked like his pitching coach knew he was. You watched the video.
He handed the ball over.
Yeah, he's like, he handed the ball, and then he kind of patted his butt like, go get him, bud. And he did.
He was like, you stay here, I got business to take care of. But it was wild to think that the way that he went over there. And as he went over, too, I was trying to figure out, he was motioning to one of the Pirates coaches to say, you stay out of this. He was really upset. And what was amazing about it, first of all, is that it looked pretty insane, right? He goes in like a madman, doesn't care who's behind him, who's near him, the fact that there's 25 guys in a different uniform, and he's the lone man walking over to their bench. But then also after the fact, he was really contrite after the fact. I thought for sure we were going to get a pretty explosive post-game interview, but immediately he was regretful and felt like, he felt bad about the example that he set and the embarrassment that he caused the team and the organization. And, so that was kind of an interesting part of this as well. But that was wild. I mean, that was really aggressive. These two teams have gone back and forth all year long. The pitch from Kell, of course, the former Rangers reliever, high and tight to Derek Dietrich. And a lot of this goes back, I say high and tight, I mean, over his head. And he got a 10-game suspension. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to the history between these two guys, these two teams this year. Derek Dietrich watched a home run. The Pirates didn't like it, and
how
it just
dare
really
he?
stopped from that. Yeah, I know it.
How
it was
dare
wild,
he look at his home run? Baseball, man.
Boy, and Keona is
so
always
Saturday night.
He's always at ground zero in these.
I don't know if you caught this, Bob. I think this was Saturday, where the A's and Rangers had themselves a bench clearer, and I think it also stemmed from a guy that did not take a Michael Young-like sprint around the bases after he hit a home run. And then, so you guys had the bases or the benches empty and stuff. So someone sent us this via Twitter, so the audio is a little bit like I recorded it off my phone watching TV. But I think this was the A's broadcasters after the game, happy that they won the game, but listen to what they had to say.
We're all after the same thing. Cooler heads prevail tonight. That's always a good thing to see.
What I didn't like, though, the Rangers announcers were kind of like eyeballing us over here, which, I don't really...
Well, they got a lefty and I'm a lefty type. I'm just saying.
All right, well, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Anything could happen. But this is a fun night at the ballpark, and the A's get a much-needed win. We'll see you tomorrow.
Do we have TV booth beef?
Yeah, are you guys bowing up over there? I know how Dave Raymond can get.
Everyone knows how Dave Raymond can get. I think that it was all for show and all for television because Dallas Braden, who's one of the great dudes in the game, sent me over a root beer float the next day. And so I think that was his fun way of saying, don't worry about it. But it was, that was a little wild one. But, those guys had some fun with the leagues. You joke around about what do the broadcasters do. We're about as useful as relievers in those spots, right? Maybe even less. I mean, relievers at least have to run out to the field, and broadcasters, we just get to practice, calling a potential fight, which is always something that could be a challenge, although Eric certainly nailed it in the Rudy Batista situation.
All right, I got another thing that I learned on the Twitter. I wasn't watching this week because we've been out of training camp. Tough to see a lot of Ranger baseball, but...
Getting in shape? Oh.
Yeah, we're
we're at fat camp actually.
Are you doing any training?
we're trying our best.
We're just looking for Ezekiel Elliott. We still can't find him.
Yeah. Not there.
This stems off of the Trevor Bauer last throw he made as a Cleveland Indian.
Holy cow! What a bonkers week in your sport, CJ.
And we didn't even mention the trade deadline yet, but he would be traded soon thereafter, as would the guy in that fight, Puig as well, who went. Man, I'd love to have Puig on my side for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so Bauer threw the ball. He was very frustrated, wasn't pitching well. Standing on the mound, took the ball and threw it over the center field fence. And that usually will, I don't know if he was being pulled from the game, but that'll get you pulled from a game for sure. Somebody let us know on Twitter, asked CJ about, he said he hurled a ball into the parking lot in Okinawa, and that CJ said it had, quote, a lot of fallout, which may not have been something you said on purpose, but
there was a reaction. Yeah, so listen, I would hate to take up the whole segment telling that story, but the short of it is, I was in spring training with a team in Korea. We were training in Okinawa, and I've done this twice. I also did it once in a big league game, which makes me so grateful that we didn't have the social media like we did, and the 10 cameras in the stadium taping everything and 100 different replays and reactions. So we only get Trevor Bauer. But I was throwing a bullpen in spring training in Okinawa. I was 37 years old, and they were trying to convert me to a starter, which I was unaware of when I first signed with this team. And I get there, I'm trying to be an old man, build up starter stamina. I'm throwing a long bullpen. It's not going particularly well. I'm at about pitch 90 or so, and I just cannot get my breaking ball to do anything. And I kind of snapped. And I look over, and there was an empty parking lot a couple hundred feet away, and I just launched a baseball into the parking lot. And didn't think anything of it, continued my bullpen. And my translator was not there at the time. He was out doing something else. And he came back a couple hours later, and he was very panicked. And he says, "What happened while I was gone?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Everyone's saying something about you disrespected some baseball equipment while I was gone." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Did you throw a baseball into a parking lot?" I was like, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, I was just really frustrated and upset." And he goes, "Well, listen, the manager is really mad right now. We need to go talk to him." And I'm like, "All right," so we go over, and I kind of put my tail between my legs, and I'm very apologetic, and we're having this three-way conversation between the manager and the translator, and then we walk away, and My translator says to me, he says, listen, here's what the manager said. Your choice is that you can go home right now and be released. He's like, or you can pay the fine. I said, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, if you don't pay the fine, he's going to release you for throwing that baseball in the parking lot. And I said, are you serious? He's like, I said, well, how much is the fine? And there's always been an issue, like with the translator when I was there, converting money from Korean won to American. And he goes, $3,000. I said, what? I said, I'm not paying $3,000 for throwing a baseball. He said, that's what otherwise you have to go home. He's going to release you. I said, I'm not paying $3,000. You can do whatever you want. I'm not paying that $3,000. I said, you sure you don't mean $300? Like, are you getting this wrong? He's like, no, $3,000 US. I said, I am 100% not paying $3,000 US because I threw a baseball in a parking lot in spring training. And I kept a close eye on my check, and they never took the money out. But it was I was on high alert the rest of the way, and I did get released a couple of months later.
Wow. That's fascinating. There's a lot there.
There is a lot there, and there's probably a few details I left out just in the interest of time.
Wow, that's fascinating. Man, I guess I wasn't aware of that, and I wasn't aware of the sacred nature of the baseball in the parking lot there.
Disrespecting equipment was what I was fined for, or apparently fined for.
Okay. Well, I guess we're a little up against it because of our irresponsible work here. So let me ask you one final question, which is your overall view of the Rangers' relative inactivity at the deadline, and you know how that's going over with the squad.
Yeah, I think everyone's really happy that Mike Minor is still here. I know Mike Minor is happy that he's still here. That talk was not something that set very well with him. It made perfect sense to trade Chris Martin. You can always try to re-sign him in the offseason. I think at this point the Rangers, knowing that the postseason is a long shot, they got a pretty good arm in return. So that's encouraging as well with Kobe Allard, the young lefty with the Atlanta Braves, now a member of the Rangers. So I thought that was a really good move. And I just think from a clubhouse standpoint, the idea of, listen, you're not going to turn down a monster deal. I mean, the Astros gave up a ridiculous amount of young, good prospects to get Zach Greinke. If someone was going to offer you something similar to that for Mike Minor, you'd have to take it. But that kind of deal was not out there. And so I think everyone's happy that he's still here, that Lance Lynn is still here, and even that Hunter Pence is still here. We talked about it last time. I thought there'd be a decent chance that Hunter might get traded just because he's in that same situation of being a free agent at the end of the year. But the deal wasn't there that they wanted. They made a couple of adjustments now with letting Cabrera go kind of post-deadline and Tim Federovich. And so now Jose Trevino gets a shot. Isaiah kind of Falefa will play some third base, and so they're starting to make some moves in that direction as well. But I was pretty satisfied, I think, with how the deadline went. Nothing major, but the smaller, smart moves that seemed to make some sense.
Very good, sir. We appreciate your time. Rangers home on the weekend, and we will visit with you again quite soon. Thank you, CJ.
All right, sounds good, guys. Enjoy camp.
Thank you, sir. And be nice to those baseballs. All right, it's 1:31. I believe we're entering holding pattern phase as two big Cowboy football men will be approaching the tent shortly on the ticket.
The Ticket's Corona. Sports Radio 1310 and 96.7 FM, The Ticket.
If you'd like to see Dennis Miller, David Spade, Norm MacDonald at WinStar World Casino and Resort Friday, August 30th for a night of comedy, you can text WIN to 22126 and end up with a pair of tickets for Dennis Miller, David Spade, and Norm MacDonald. WinStar World Casino and Resort Friday, August 30th. It is Friday, August 2nd. This is the Bob and Dan radio program. We're out in Oxnard, California, the home of Dallas Cowboys Training Camp 2019. Engineer Tony's dance video is now up to 21.7 thousand views.
We got to get going on that.
That's how many people.
We need more people to see this video.
Now, Jake claims he's responsible for 1,000 of those, so maybe it's only about 20,000 other individual eyeballs.
At Bracket Dan.
So, yeah, if you want to check that out, you can see our streaming as well. That's where you'll be able to look at a couple of actual live Cowboy players. We are planning for today's What Are You, a Cowboy, to visit with Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins.
This is where we could use the nameplates so they don't confuse the radio guys with the starting tackles, you know.
Yeah, but they'll be the ones, they'll have Cowboy shirts.
Okay.
And Cowboy hats and boots.
That's
and I
helpful.
Think big belt buckles, too. That's the way they dress out here.
Big year for these guys. Big year for the offensive line. They gotta get back to dominating. Last year was not a dominant, like when you talk about the best offensive line in football, I assume they would concur that that wasn't what their reputation suggests. But, you know, this is, I guess, how football works, is that by the time the next season goes around and everybody ranks whatever for the upcoming season, they're right back at the top again in everyone's mind. I suppose that's similar to like Aaron Rodgers being, you know, whatever he was again, ranked a top 10 player in the NFL, even though last year and even the year before it certainly didn't show that. But going into the preseason, we're like, yeah, okay, last season, but forget that. Now we all know that these guys are the best line in football, so we're going to put them near the top of our rankings again.
Yeah, it's not like they're 38. Right?
Right.
Not like they're on the downside of a career, you would think. So, yeah, I guess I wonder if a lot of that has to do with whether Zeke is back or not, too, whether you view them as a great offensive line.
I don't. I think Pittsburgh's offensive line is not dependent on Le'Veon Bell making them look great. I don't think Dallas's offensive line is dependent on Zeke Elliott making them look great. I think a great offensive line can honestly make those carrying the ball look great more than the other way can work in the other direction, right? In some ways, this is Barry versus Emmett, isn't it?
Who is off top of your head? I'm just thinking, Tyron has been so awesome.
Yes.
And, like, you knew from day one, this is an awesome pick, and you've probably drafted a left tackle for a decade, which to me seems like one of the top things you could do for a franchise, right?
I would imagine.
Like, first you want to find a quarterback. I'm not sure you wouldn't say second, I want to find a left tackle. If that's you might argue
especially if they
rusher.
happen to be 20.
So your entire question to this point is who, and I'm going to guess that
like who's drafted ahead of him.
J.J. Watt was the question I think you were asking, which is who could they have had instead of Tyron, and what is the eternal question?
I was going to ask who was drafted, what teams were taking other people ahead of him. You're saying J.J. Watt was still there.
The 2011 draft is one of the best drafts you'll see. 2014 is pretty salty as well.
Like they knew he was great, yet as I recall, they knew he'd be there at 9. Like we knew a week before the draft.
Yeah.
This is probably who they're going to take. So
yeah, I think that was one of those years where we kind of felt like the teams in front of them were not going to take a tackle.
And Jake's point is great,
you're right.
too.
In many years, Tyron would go top 2 or 3.
And that he's not 22
right.
or 23.
No,
he's like a real baby.
In fact, he's younger than Zach Martin.
Really?
Even though he was.
And he's definitely their longest tenured offensive lineman, right?
Oh, yeah. 3 drafts earlier. Your top 10, or your top 11, I like to say, in the 2011 draft Cam Newton, 1. Von Miller, Marcel Darius, A.J. Green, Pat Peterson. Pretty good top 5?
Yeah.
All right, well, in number 6, can I interest you in Julio Jones? Aldon Smith.
And they traded up to get him, right?
Aldon Smith, who was awesome. Yeah, the Falcons traded quite a bit to get him from the Browns. Boy, the Browns have quite a team of guys they traded away from.
Yeah.
And then Jake Locker at 8. Tyron Smith, 9.
Jake Locker, huh?
Blaine Gabbert, 10. J.J. Watt, 11. Christian Ponder, 12. So all the quarterbacks in this top 12 were certainly massive disappointments. But all the other players turned out to be Pro Bowl caliber players.
So we could have had J.J. Watt and his brother.
Yeah. But, as I've always said, you would never have me second-guessing Tyron over J.J.
That's what I'm
Watt.
saying. Like, I feel like this is the second most important position you could draft for.
On the other hand, J.J. Watt is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, which is pretty good, too. There might not be a wrong answer there. I bet you if Houston was picking 9th, they would have 0 regrets. Heck, J.J. Watt could have gone 1 overall as well. Julio Jones, 1 overall. It's a great draft. That's good sports talk right there.
Yeah, it is. We're still in a holding pattern, so what we want to do is work
Tony
in...
dance break.
Well, no. We're going to work in a...
Put the cam on Tony, and he's going to dance.
A tiny ticker, a tiny break for a ticker, and we'll come back because we're at training camp. We're looking for our player men. We're looking for Jason Garrett to regale us with a funny bit. The horn is sounding. The yoga is taking place. And we'll be back just in a moment here on The Ticket.
This is Sports Radio 1310.
No live.
Good. In the next 20 minutes to half an hour, we have Cowboy player men as guests. We have a plural on the guests today. And they are brought to you by Markham Fine Jewelers. And our Cowboy player men today. Hello, I'm Dan.
Hi, Dan.
This is Lyle Collins.
Lyle Collins. Nice to meet you.
And Tyron Smith.
How you doing?
How you guys? You have very large hands. To go along with a large frame, which I would imagine really helps if you're going to play offensive line in the
Absolutely.
NFL. Yeah. Other sports. Did you guys grow up? Sometimes, you could choose from many sports to go into. I know you were a discus guy at least.
Yeah, discus and shot put, and sucked at basketball.
Yeah, sucked at basketball?
Yeah, I didn't make it past the sophomore year.
Dude, I would have thought.
I fouled out every game.
Oh.
Literally every single game.
Yeah, you weren't much of an athlete.
Threw somebody in the bleachers before on accident.
You're just big enough to block people.
That's it.
Yeah, I would think let's post him up. Let's just toss it down to Tyron, and he'll just turn and.
That's too much running back and forth down the court.
Okay. But certainly they looked at your body and said, hey, I'm sure you could play basketball.
Yeah.
Very tall man.
It didn't last too long.
So, and you?
Oh, basketball. I did shot put. I played like one day of baseball.
Okay. One day? You were just too good at it? You just decided to.
Baseball was too much running for me on the first day.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it would be less running.
We didn't even pick up a bat or a ball. We just ran all around the fence. So, yeah.
And you said, I'm done with this.
Yep.
Did you play basketball or high school basketball?
I played basketball in high school, but once I realized I was going to be playing football, I just kind of left it alone. But, I played AAU basketball all through middle school and all the way up until 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
The big man?
Oh, yeah.
Post you up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
All
definitely.
right. So this is Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins here, and I wanted to know, when's the first time you guys met each other?
Let's see, college. I was his host when he came for his visit at SC.
Mm-hmm. So okay,
oh, really?
So you went on an official to USC and they hook you up with him.
Yep.
What was that like?
It was great. It was great, man. Probably my favorite visit of all time. Definitely my first time away from home. I just remember, getting out there, meeting Tyron, talking to him after the game and stuff. Well, before the game and after the game, just hanging out, getting to know him, getting to know the campus, showed me around.
Yeah.
And, that was the first time I met, and it's just crazy how I ended up here.
But he was unable to close you.
Yeah.
He wanted to be home. He wanted to be.
Yeah, it was too far from home.
Yeah.
I could remember being on that flight all the way to Cali and being in the middle seat. Coach,
they got you a middle.
Yeah, my knees were hurt. My everything was hurt, and I was like, yeah, that's too long of a flight and too far away from home.
Man, that's wild. And so when you ended up with the Cowboys, were you at that dinner to close them down that time at least?
Yeah, I was there.
Got it right the second time.
Okay. Because you had some options back
absolutely.
then. There were a lot of circumstances, and you end up with basically, I suppose every college star's sort of dream. Weird, but you're kind of a free agent right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be here.
Yep.
Did he have anything to do with that?
Did you remember?
He was a part of it. He was there. He welcomed me in, man. Him and the rest of the guys, they welcomed me in, and felt like family, felt like home, somewhere I wanted to be. So it was great to be here, man.
But you remembered him from your college visit?
Yeah, I remember him.
He's hard to forget.
Well, yeah, but
he was a little smaller back then.
I was skinny, man. I was real skinny.
He got a lot bigger, but I definitely remember him.
Nice.
You're now the old man on the line, right? Unless we count LP.
Yeah. It's been a while, but I don't like to feel like I'm too old.
Yeah, but it's just weird because I guess we've been coming out here a long time, but I just still remember you as he's the exceptionally young draft pick. You're a lot younger than most guys when you got drafted.
Yeah, I was about 20 years old when I first got started.
And
you're technically younger than Zach, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm younger than Zach and Trav.
That's hilarious. 3 drafts later.
It's crazy how it works out.
Yeah. How's I'm sure you get asked this a lot, and I saw that like on Instagram, it looks like you're taking good care of yourself. But everyone wants to know, how's your body doing?
I'm
because
doing great.
You hear it. You hear people wondering, how the body is, and people freak out about that sort of thing.
No, I don't have any complaints right now. Nothing's really bothering me. I'm out there full go, and it feels great.
Did you it's a weird thing to ask a guy about toughing it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in the last couple of years, you've tried to help the team. If you are, I don't know, 70%, you're going to play, right?
Yeah, I'm always going to do the best way I can to help my teammates out. And no matter if I'm hurt or not, I'll keep going till I can't even walk.
How hard is that? Because there are times where like, dude, Tyron is dragging a leg to play today, and everyone respects it. How hard is it though?
It's just for me, it's more of a mindset. After a while, you just can't really think about it. Just go out there and play.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more you think about it, the more it's going to bother you.
Love it. It's certainly a mental game, and I'm imagining there's legitimate pain to deal with. But that's kind of what you guys signed up for, I suppose, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with one last boring football question, and then we'll change the topic to more spirited things. But Lyle, how weird is it with all the coaching adjustments over the years? You guys, you've had your fair number of offensive line coaches.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about technique changes and all that. Are we finally feeling like we're settled in with a good fit?
Absolutely, man. I feel good, and as crazy as it's been a little bit, time here and there. I got a lot from Coach Frank. My first couple years here, and Colombo was here with me when I first came in. So. I got a lot from those guys when I first came in, and I learned some things from Paul as well. And now that we're back to Colombo being the head guy, just kind of getting back to the old things that we did. And for me, now I'm going into year 5, I definitely feel more comfortable, at right tackle, and it feels good.
Okay.
How difficult is it, like just switching? You guys have switched positions, different. You played one thing in college, right? Then you played right tackle. Then you moved to left tackle. Is that extremely different? Is it real easy?
It's more of a muscle memory more than anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of get back in the groove of anything once you switch to a different spot. But it's not that hard of an adjustment to do it. You just got to kind of flip everything in your mind and just go out there and do it.
Guard to tackle? Same thing?
I was going to say guard to tackle.
Well, for me, it was more so just moving from left side to right side because I played left my whole life. And being left-handed, kind of, it kind of felt weird at first being on the right to have my offhand just kind of being my lead hand, and I just had to get used to it. And I mean, honestly, it kind of made me a little bit better because now that we always talk about protecting inside out, and now that my left hand is on my inside, it kind of keeps me straight and it makes me stronger on the inside. So.
This is Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins. Okay, so let's drop football for a little bit if you're cool with that, Dan. I want to talk
unless you care about your Madden rating. Do you?
I don't even pay attention to it.
You don't? Okay, some guys really do.
It's probably the skilled guys.
I remember Dez was a little more worried about it than when he'd get his early. Do you guys even play Madden?
I suck at Madden, but I try.
Yeah, he tries. He sucks, though.
Oh, okay. You do, though?
I play a little bit. I can beat him.
You got beat by my son.
Really?
My 7-year-old son beat you.
I let him.
Oh, don't hear it. I don't want to hear it.
It was a long day.
I don't care. I don't want no excuses.
Fortnite?
I was a little tired.
Mad.
No Fortnite though.
No.
Okay.
So back to Instagram. I think for the last several years, the fishing trip happens.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and those of us who live vicariously by looking at Instagram of professional athletes, we're like, you know what? I bet you a fishing trip with a bunch of buddies would be kind of fun. How does that happen? Who organizes it? Who gets to come? Like it appears you guys have opened the gates for a couple non-offensive line dudes over the years. Who's in charge of this entire expedition every year?
I say Travis. Travis sets it up, but I think it kind of all started. We were just kind of just talking about fishing, and I think Travis and Zach used to go out, and then I guess he kind of realized a couple guys on the team really like to fish, so we all just kind of got together and started going.
It started becoming like a little tradition.
Yeah.
Same place every year?
Yeah.
Is it once a year?
Once a year we go out.
Kind of June-ish? Or is that, or did I have?
It's a little earlier.
Yeah, it's early than that.
Yeah.
Okay, and where did you say the same place?
Same place out in Key West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that must be pretty awesome because it looks like you guys catch some mammoth fish.
Man. Yeah, we're not leaving until we catch the big fish.
What are we going for there?
Anything we can catch. I think he caught a shark before.
Yeah.
Joe caught a shark. That thing was huge. We even tried to catch a hammerhead. That thing came and snatched the bait and left.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys, nobody's trying out the water though, right?
I think a couple guys jumped in the water just to kind of fill it out, and then get right back in real quick.
Not messing around with.
I'll tell you one thing: I'm not getting in. I'm not a good swimmer to start off with, so I'm not getting in that water.
Yeah. We certainly have had an experience in visiting with certain athletes who were quite sure that sharks are everywhere down there, and we don't need to be in the water at all.
Exactly, I'm right there with.
That's a no-go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. What did we see on All or Nothing last year with their fishing trip? Didn't we see some of that?
No, that was me and Dak out fishing in Lake Louisville.
Oh yeah, where there are no sharks, decidedly.
No sharks. Yeah.
Did you guys watch that show?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, you watched it all?
Yeah. Well, not all of it.
I was fascinated by it.
Yeah, it was great, man.
And I don't necessarily believe guys that say I barely watched it.
Just a little bit.
Really?
We glanced at it a little bit.
Okay. Again, I don't want to.
That's tough to pin down.
I'm not going to get in a fight or anything, but I don't quite believe you. I feel like I would watch that for sure if I were you, just to see how I'm being portrayed or what people are talking about.
So we have discussions on the show that generally involve you guys for football, of course, but also then for hypotheticals. And generally, the hypothetical goes a little something like, could Tyron Smith take down like a tiger or something like that, or could the offensive line handle a grizzly bear of some level? And so I guess the question for you guys, without having a specific hypothetical, is what do you think is the biggest wild animal you could handle on your own?
On our own.
Yeah.
Not as a group?
Well, then, I suppose we could, if you need to tag team this thing, we're willing to hear this as well. But we often try to test your strength against various things out there in the universe. We hope you don't mind.
First of all, I ain't gonna mess with anything that can eat me. I gotta tell you right off the bat. I'm trying to run for it, but but anything I need a good plan going into the thing and trying to wrestle this thing down wherever it is.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have no teeth and no nails, I'm good. I'll take a shot.
Do you hunt at all?
Nah.
Okay.
I've never
just the
been
fish.
Just fish.
Okay. All right. Because we don't know anything about any of that stuff, but again, we keep track of you guys a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would be curious about how well you guys could handle yourself. Maybe we could muzzle the bear to make sure they don't try anything.
I think gonna squeeze the mess out of you. Right? Just swipe you.
Messing with a bear.
So when you move guard to tackle, though, there are no bears, but it's a much different type of athlete you're dealing with, right?
Definitely.
Did you have to change anything about what you do to go from like a Fletcher Cox or a Kawan Short out to the edge, and it's freaking Von Miller or I suppose Ryan Kerrigan, guys like that?
Absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with way faster guys, guys that have a combination of speed and power. Inside guys some inside guys that speed and power, but you can get on them a lot quicker. But when you're out there on that island, it's just you and that guy. You got to dance.
Looks
that's
like
kind of what it is.
Looks like both of you though have a pretty good time finishing dudes off. They're going for sacks, and you're going for some sort of humiliation, Tyron. I've seen the one arm just sort of throw a dude to the turf situation. Is that the pinnacle of a left tackle?
It's more comes down to technique, and also just sometimes you gotta just express dominance. Sometimes, kind of let the guy know you're there.
Can you see it in their eyes when you kind of have them checked out because they know they can't get around you?
Nah, I just kind of move on to the next play. I don't even pay attention to it, really.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of guy gets on the ground, gets back up, or next play.
Do either you talk much out there? I don't think you do.
I'm not really much of a talker on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to talk my rookie year when I played guard. But nah.
You stopped talking?
I mean, not that. It's just, if it's a guy that likes to talk, I don't like to get into it with guys like that. But I'd rather speak with my play, more than what I got to say to him. So
yeah.
Does it matter to you as far as the offensive coordinator changing? Is that a big deal for you guys? Same thing with, like, if you have Zeke behind you or someone else. Is it different at all to you?
Not at all. It just I don't know. Everything kind of just for some reason everything just fits together like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a big offer or a big difference or anything like that at all.
When they talk about they're using replay for some penalties now, and some people are upset about that. Like, man, where's this going to go? This is going to slow everything down. And the common thing for everybody to say is there's holding on every play. You could never have replay for the offensive line. What would you say to that? Like, is that true?
Well, I'm notorious for getting my holding calls for some of my technique I do, and so I wouldn't mind seeing some of the replays because sometimes it looks different to them than it is to me.
Okay, so you're saying that would help you?
Maybe sometimes some instance where maybe it's important comes down to the wire for one of our plays, but other than that, it really doesn't really need it. You just gotta kind of fix it so that talk to the refs, just let them know what kind of technique you're using.
You feel you have been called for holding when it's not been holding?
Maybe.
Okay. You similar, or is there holding?
I don't get holding calls like that.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins. I know you guys got to run, but last thing I had for you, Tyron, is when you got here, were offensive linemen talking? Like, I feel like this is a rare treat
to the media.
To
They would
hear
walk
your
off.
voice.
I used to get, didn't talk to the media when you talk to me, you got fined for it. That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Or it was just don't talk to the media.
Right.
And you guys know me. I don't say much anyway, so that kind of works for me.
I know, but I know it's a real treat to visit with you guys because it used to be hands off. You're a man of few words, and now I guess you run the room, so I guess you can kind of dictate policy a little bit.
Nah, if guys want to talk, they can go ahead and talk if they want to. I ain't gonna tell them what to do and what not to do.
Okay, he's in the power chair, Lyle, right?
Yeah, I'd say he's about 30%. Travis is about 70.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not planning the fishing trip yet.
Very nice.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us. Would you do us a favor? And this is our wacky radio liner. Would you each read our liner for us?
Yeah, sure.
And we have a T-shirt to give you.
Parting gifts and everything.
Here's the problem: I have only one 3X left.
Oh, yeah, I'll take
and I have a
3X.
2X.
I was about to say.
Can you go 2X?
You had a 1X, he'd take it.
Well, you're tiny shirt guy.
Yeah.
No, just
I mean, look
I ain't
at
that.
it.
Yeah, he is.
I ain't that
Like the
big.
small shirts.
No, he's sculpted. Look at that.
He likes the small shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
You like the 1X.
Yeah, that looks tinier than.
Is he always trying to be skins, Lyle?
It's about 2X right here.
I mean, sometimes his blood can't circulate because the shirt's
Love it.
I can't even borrow a shirt from him. I'll be like, Tyler, you got an extra shirt? Nah, never mind.
All right, Lyle, you want to do that for us? That'd be
Yeah.
great.
This is Lyle Collins, and I never listened to the Bob and Dan show on Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
Brilliant.
For that, you get a 3X.
Thank you, sir.
And it says the same thing. Would you be so kind, Tyron?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
This is Tyron Smith, and I never listened to the Bob and Dan show on a Sports Radio 1310. I'm sorry. This is Tyron Smith, and I never listened to the Bob and Dan show on a Sports Radio on 1310, The Ticket.
Look at that.
I do have a ladies' medium. If that's you're good with 2X?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Man,
Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate
Fun
it.
visiting with you.
Appreciate having us.
And have a great season.
Thank you.
That is Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins from the tent on the ticket. First time we've ever had two starting tackles at the exact same time on the show. Fantastic.
All right, man.
All right, now.
Good to meet you. Let's
knock out a break.
Pause for station identification on the BaD Radio Network.
The ticket present.
No live.
So let me ask you a question. When the Bob and Dan radio show was young, as was the world,
Don't miss Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. In the outrageous comedy Long Shot, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Get the film that critics are calling hilarious and heartwarming, and an absolute must-see. Own Long Shot now on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. And text FUNNY to 22126 for your chance to win. All right. Seems like the Twitch thing offers some feature. I don't know how they're doing it, Bob, kids, these days with their uploading. But they are quickly cutting off little pieces of video that they like. And I don't know what it is about Twitch or YouTube, why it makes Twitch is able to do it quicker. At least yesterday had a couple people do it. And today there's a real good one. Somebody cut off. They're the Mino of their office. They cut off a part of that Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith interview featuring you, Bob, that
good.
Particularly tickled them. Maybe we can play that in a few minutes, because first, this is kind of Friday follow-up, Danny. We are
Friday follow-up.
We are moving things around all week. The 1:30 news, for instance, goes to 2:30, unless Jake hasn't had a spot to put the Crow line, and then the Crow line can supplant the 1:30 news at 2:30. And that's where we are now. It's Friday. We're at the end of the week. Many people many people have had a lot of things to say about our show. And to prove it, Jake put together this week's Crow line.
Start of message.
Jake is the Crow Man, and the Crow Man gets paid. Buckets. In my additional research on the story of Mr. Bobbitt and his dismembered member, he went on, after having it reattached, to do porn with Letha Weapons, a big boob porn star of the era.
There is no way, not a chance, will never happen. I'll put my life on it. Zeke will not hold out. He will be at camp. There's no way. Dan, dumbass. Dude, every guess I've ever gotten in my life has been right. I should have your show, dude. You're such an idiot.
Who forces you to carry those meaningless press conferences from the Cowboys? What the hell? I don't give a what Jason Garrett has to say. I don't give a what Jerry Jones has to say. Why do we have to listen to that? I would rather take a bath with my fat, racist dad than ever listen to another second of a Cowboys press conference.
Hey, Jake, what's the update on the your Philadelphia 76ers bet that they would not win the title? Just need to get an update if you wouldn't mind. Appreciate it.
Bet payoff idea. Loser has to listen to every Town episode for a whole month. Jake can verify that they listened to all of them by asking them questions.
I just want to say that Tyreek Hill is a fucking piece of shit, and I just want to put some fucking scissor edges on my and fucking use my and slice off that stupid fucking haircut he has.
Yeah, this message is for David Bino. Can you please come clean? Like, how many times are you playing the air horn in the background? Versus how many times does it actually happen, like, during an actual shift that you work? I feel like it plays like every 5 minutes, and while I do think it's a hilarious bit, it's also driving me crazy not knowing.
Hey, tell me again, when's the Rusty Greer, Rusty Trombone, Bobblehead Fleshlight night? I'll show up for that.
While many of you are likely yelling, "Go Bob" or "Go Dan," I'm yelling, "Go Jake Kemp" and the rule of the clock. Using the word pedantic makes you fucking pedantic.
This message is for the guy who called in last week who doesn't like the P1s doing voices or anything like that. Just because you're not talented enough to have any shtick doesn't mean you have to be upset.
You had about all of that answer that you wanted, didn't you?
Hey guys, how great would it be to have Jason Garrett do the honors on Jubb's head?
At what point are you guys going to hold JD accountable? The Rangers are fucking trash. Look at the A's. They have a fraction of the payroll. They're always competitive. At what point are we going to just blow this thing up? The Rangers are trash. Button up your frickin' shirt, Odor. You look like a jackass. And it's NorCal, not NoCal.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Dan. Jake. Julie. Mino. Just calling my AirPods at HEB. So, feeling a bit attacked right now, guys. Bit attacked. The official Texas state saying is eat 'em up, go Cats go. That would be correct, Daniel and Jacob. However, when it comes to Alexis, Texas, I believe her official motto is show us your go state. Woo!
Hey, Jake. Do you live in Frisco?
Oh, certainly. I consider myself a pretty big stats guy. Obviously, stats are obviously one method of quantifying statistics. Perhaps might consider other statisticians may be more advanced, but quantitatively, I feel as though my stat skills are above reproach.
So I'm listening to our new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and I swear to God, he sounds like Jason Garrett got a hold of him and taught him how to do Garrett Robo speak. Yeah, Dak, yeah.
Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly. Lately I've been noticing people making really sarcastic remarks in the comments of these videos, and I don't appreciate it, and I'm not kidding. It's not funny at all. The people out there that don't know me would say, what kind of jerk is this guy? I'm on Twitter trying to help you. The fact that you would infer to the people out there that don't know me that I would go and slice two necks in one night and do something like that. I don't appreciate people taking shots at my expense, saying that I brutally slayed Ronald and Cole is when that is against what I would do. I'm just saying.
I think I want your job where I can play both sides of it, where I can do the, analytics suck, and do more to demean them than anybody in this town. And then on the other side, do more to praise them. I want that job.
Jake, you talk on the air like you carry your balls around in a wheelbarrow, but yet I have had Bob directly in my crow line crosshairs for weeks now, and I have yet to hear one of those calls get played. And I know you're going to say it's content, it's their calls, and maybe that's so. I can bite that bullet, but man, you got to agree with me on this one. Did they get it written into their contract? Did Bob get it written in where he's got to mention that he writes for The Athletic every segment?
Let me tell you, a conservative in their 20s has no heart, but a liberal in their 50s has no brain.
Oi, guys, there it's Tony. Well, I just want to say I'm sorry for getting a little drunk the other night. I apologize. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have said drunk. That might have been a curse word down in the United States. Well, sorry I got a little drunk. Once the karaoke gets flowing, you know how they do. Have a couple Molsons. Sorry.
I would love to fight all them that don't like Jake, but the problem is none of them are old enough or too old to fight at fight night. So all of them.
I don't know what you heard about me. I produce a show that goes from noon to 3. I think that space is SG. My name is motherfucking KIMP.
Hey, Jake, I was just wondering, man, why do you think whenever everybody went on vacation, they decided to stick your dumbass on the morning show? They all fucking hate you because you're a little bitch.
Yeah, what's up, you homos? This is the Young Jake Show. Back again, representing for NRH, baby. Let's talk a minute about how George W. Bush is a war criminal. I mean, this guy seriously should be said in the same breath as Osama bin Laden in terms of the damage they've done to America and the world. Next hour, we'll talk about the crash of the Challenger space shuttle and how that's a blessing for this country. So gay.
I don't know, man. I just think Jake is super gay. His whole scene is gay. And from the Fort Worth article, sports is such a localized entertainment vertical. Nice corporate jargon, douche.
God, I fucking hate Jake. He's as good at radio as Roy Halladay is at flying planes.
Wow. Goodness. Everybody tone it down just a little bit.
Do you need some cookies, Jake? Or a
No,
hug?
I love it.
Okay. Just making
We
brought you some cookies.
I love it.
I could get you some cookies.
Look, they figured me out. I leave a lot of stuff about other people on the cutting room floor. It's not as funny.
That's awesome.
Wow.
214-523-AP69.
Yo.
If you want to join the talent show. And
Twitter world.
See if Jake will.
Hey, Twitter world.
They've figured out the reverse psychology on Jake, too. If I just bash him harder, then I'll get through.
Well, those people seem to be funnier, though, too. That's part of it.
Especially
Hey,
on
did
a
you
week
notice,
when you're celebrated in Fort Worth Magazine.
That's right.
Hey, Twitter world.
You guys want to hear the latest from OJ?
Oh.
So
anyway, we'll deal with that.
now I have a 2-minute one where he's talking about the NFL Hall of Fame. I don't know if you need that one.
So he doesn't go on these days, right?
Hall of Fame game?
Well, no. Everyone returns who's a Hall of Famer to help honor the new class.
That would be very interesting if he showed up.
Right.
And if we could get that to happen. Of course, my favorite OJ Hall of Fame story has to do with when I was working in Youngstown, Bob. This is before Dayton, and Dayton directly preceded Dallas. So I don't know. Mid to late 90s, probably 97 or something like that, is when OJ's bust was stolen from the Hall of Fame. Somehow they didn't have these things bolted down.
That's right.
You could actually just walk through the Hall of Fame and pick up one of the busts, slide it under your coat, and walk out. No one had ever done it before. Whoa, but with OJ in the news, of course, his became a hot item, and somebody stole it.
That's crazy.
And I was following that story for weeks, of course, on our radio show there. And it turned out to be some kind of a telltale heart type thing. Like the heat got too hot. There was no leads. They weren't close to finding it. They ended up finding it in the median on a highway, like somebody had just thrown it out of their car. Like, I can't take having this anymore. I always wanted to know. I still want to know. Like, the statute of limitations has to have passed. I want someone to come forward and say, I did it. Here's my the oral history as given to the Ringer, the Athletic, or I want somebody to write me the definitive story.
I hear you.
About the kids that stole, because it was stoners or something that had it and had it on their table in their basement or something, and their buddies would come over and look at it and be like, I can't believe you're the one who stole the OJ bust. And I don't know if they just thought loose lips were going to sink their ship or something, but they just couldn't take it anymore, and they just discarded it in the middle of a highway. So it was returned, and since then they've bought, bolts and glue and stuff, and you can't take one out of the Hall of Fame anymore.
Like, how would that trial even go, though? No one's going to throw the book at you for stealing OJ's head.
And imagine if they would have just kept it.
They would probably congratulate you on being the luckiest man in the world.
If you just kept it and the statute of limitations runs out, can you then admit it and say 90% of the law, or what is it? Ownership, possession is 9/10 of the law?
That can't be how it works.
Could I just admit, look, I stole it, I have it, nah. I'm
going to say
try to get it.
Now let's work this out here. Three college graduates, maybe 5. I don't mean to give everyone on the show a degree, but probably 5.
Jake's got like 2 degrees.
Okay, 7 degrees on the show.
Graduate.
Let's work this out. Does the statute of limitations actually expire if the stolen goods are still out there? Like, that keeps the crime going, right? It isn't from the moment you steal it. It's probably from the moment it's returned.
That sounds right.
But if something was stolen 20 years ago today,
But you still
You're
have
saying
it.
as long as I don't
It's
solve
still,
that crime, it's still a crime?
I'm saying it's still stolen. If you still,
I'm saying no.
If you stole the Mona Lisa,
Counterpoint, no.
Well, that's 1-1. Well, how's this vote going to go?
I think I'm with Bob.
If you still have the stolen painting,
you're still doing the crime.
Yeah, the crime is still happening. You can't say, okay, I've had this painting for 10 years, now it's mine because the time passed.
So I shouldn't admit something I stole in college. I have a I stole something
Like
in college story.
You have
but
a stop sign in your basement?
I did.
Everyone did. How do they make enough stop signs?
I don't know.
But in the scenario that Bob and
that's
I
why our prisons are so full, to make more.
And the scenario that Bob and I are supporting, though, as I think this out, is that then there would essentially never be a statute of limitations that could apply to theft, right?
Right.
Yeah, that can't make sense.
That doesn't
That's
make
why
any
you
sense
guys
either.
are illogical.
Yeah.
I'm still going to side with me on this one.
I'm going to guess,
bold,
Bob.
baby.
I'm going to guess you've never watched a primary debate. You might have watched a presidential debate.
Okay.
But I would guess that you've never, ever watched like a debate between all the Democratic candidates 2 years before an election.
100%.
Okay.
Nor do I plan on it.
Well, that's good. So he watched it so you wouldn't have to. O.J. Simpson was live tweeting during the Democratic debate, I believe the first one earlier this week. And just a short clip here. He had a quick opinion, and I thought you might need to hear it. Oops.
Ooh.
That's that sound, right? Here we go.
Hey, Twitter world. Is it my imagination that Yang and Gabbard are the only two who know how to follow the rules of this debate?
He shows the TV screen.
I'm just saying. Hey, Twitter world.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's it.
So his signature close is, I'm just saying.
Hey, Twitter world.
Yeah, it's that or he drives off in an electric golf cart.
And reaches for the wedge.
I believe, yeah, that is his signature. Or
pay these guys.
That's of course his signature for Zeke and
station.
Wow.
Zeke and any other running backs.
That's what his accountant tells him regarding the Goldman family.
Ooh. He did have comments on the Hall of Fame. I just kind of remember the very end of his Hall of Fame comments.
Look at that Miami defense compared to the Pittsburgh defense at the time. Pittsburgh have a host of Hall of Fames. The Dolphins don't. Look at those 2 Super Bowls they won. Look how many points they gave up. These guys were as good as anybody, and to me the most intimidating guy on that defense was Dick Anderson. You're not in the NFL Hall of Fame, but you're in my Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. Take care.
So he was trying to make a case for a couple of guys he couldn't believe weren't in the Hall of Fame. And apparently Dick Anderson is a player who played for the Dolphins.
He is.
Okay, and he was saying Bonacani was great, but this guy was always, he was always a nemesis of mine. But I just wondered how Dick Anderson feels today, knowing this.
Was Dick Anderson. You're not in the NFL Hall of Fame, but you're in my Hall of Fame.
So you did not make it to the NFL Hall of Fame, but here in the OJ Hall of Fame.
And I'm waiting in your backyard right now.
You are safe. I'm just saying. All right. Well, there you go. Great job, Jake.
It's time for another segment of...
Hey, thanks, Dan.
Is
this Friday follow-up?
No, kind of. I mean, we're done.
Friday follow-up.
Jake is actually leaving, right? You have a music festival this weekend again?
No festival, but I am leaving.
You and Stephen Jones going to hang out? Drink straight from the bottle?
That was him, not me, but...
Yeah, but you thought it was a baller move, didn't you? Oh, really? Okay. All right, well, anyway.
Wow.
Great work.
You guys are a pretty solid combo.
And it is 10 till 3. This is the ticket.
FM, The Ticket. Once again, BaD Radio presents Why Today Doesn't Suck.
Let's go down and talk to John Radigan, who has Colby Lewis with him.
Yeah, we got Colby here. Try to put into words how you're feeling right now, Colby.
It sucks.
And now, here are your hosts, Bob Sturm and Dan McDowell.
Bob.
.254.
Here, Tony, will you put that away, please?
Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. It is Bud and Dan, and it is time for Mino.
Thank you, Bob. Tito's Handmade Vodka and A1 Locksmith and Security brings you Hot Broga.
Thanks, Mino.
Yeah.
Good job today, dude.
You too. You kind of killed it.
I mean, I agree. I was very good, but I feel like I was playing second.
Yeah.
Playing for second place today while you were here.
I was doing it for Tony.
Yeah.
Pop on real quick, Tony. Just kidding. Just kidding.
See?
It's fun.
Told you Mino was rolling. Anyway, we generally welcome in the hardline
Love you,
here.
Tony.
Because I have no sight of them, I'm going to talk to someone who surely knows exactly where they are. And let's bring on the producer of the hardline, Dingu.
Oh.
And Danny Bayless.
Hello.
So, what is your communication with the hardline when they are in California and you are in Texas?
Between 0 and 6%.
Do you think you talk to them more than I
still have
talk
to
to my wife, let's say?
You still have to listen to their show, right?
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah, when you guys are on the air, I hear you plenty.
I mean, I'm an integral part of this thing, Dan. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
But as far as pre-show, I have no idea where they are, what they're doing, what we're doing. You know,
None.
In the grand scheme of things.
Like, who's today's guest?
I have no idea.
All right.
But in this current climate in the world and such a polarized, difficult time, does any of this really matter anyway?
I saw the guest booking process for the hardline yesterday, right, like in person. And so White Joe Trahan was over here, and he pitched Maher to Corby. And Corby's on board.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw it to Mike, and Mike vetoed it. The negatory on Maher.
Was Maher standing there and burst into tears?
No, but then Corby was a bit incredulous, and I was saying, why not? I mean, you know, there's a guy who's very integral to the Cowboys winning and losing this year, right? Don't you think a couple games are going to come down to his foot?
They always do.
And then I saw Trahan, you know, gave him the hard sell. Told him how funny he was. He was like at an improv. He won an improv night. And
world's funniest kicker.
Yeah. And they finally turned Mike. And so I think that's their guest today, Danny, if you wanted to know.
You know, I thought.
I don't really care one way or the other, but thanks for telling me.
You know what I thought? Tell me this would be a pretty good idea.
That was a drop.
Okay? I'm gonna pitch you on a plan here.
You're pitching me or Danny?
Both of you. I want to hear thumbs up or thumbs down on my plan. What if the hardline
Thumb up.
had Alfred Morris
Wait.
for 10 straight shows? Like every day.
For 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. I think he's a delight.
He's awesome. His laugh is great. He doesn't seem to be tired of them. And
which definitely happens.
Right.
I'm on board, or until he gets cut.
Like Tyron was tired with us.
He's not going to get cut in 10 days.
Won't he?
Oh, man.
Or what if that was the finale?
Verbal corner there, Bob.
The finale is they cut him.
Like the hardline gets to cut him?
Yeah, and they're really torn, so that's like episode 9. We have a whole season
Danny
written
gets
out
to
here.
ask him for his playbook.
Yeah, exactly. See, isn't this good?
I see here we're exactly 2 weeks away from Danny's 20th anniversary here at the Ticket.
And Mike's 69th birthday. It's the same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to eat out?
Oh, you damn right. And she ate.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I started in March, but I didn't become an official employee until August.
How does one become an official employee?
You weren't full time?
No, I was contract labor, if you can believe that.
Were you like Bob, who worked for
Metro?
Like Bob actually wants to pretend he's been here longer than me, but let's look at the paperwork. And what does the paperwork say? That we started the exact same day.
People know.
I think Bruce just paid me cash.
He paid you in great compliments because he was very good at that.
And cigarettes.
And making you feel good. Oh, man, you're really killing it. You make Richard Hunter
Pack of smokes.
look a lot better than he is. Weren't you the producer for the Richard Hunter show?
No, sir.
I thought you were.
Doug and Mark Followell.
I produced Mark and Doogie, and then Richard took over that show when I moved to the Hardline, and then they got fired.
That's why he got sifted.
Intelligence to eat all of that food.
And then they gave.
So you guys
Dick
can't
his
even
own
let
show.
Danny talk for 3 seconds before you just morph him into pig.
It sort of sounded like it.
So we're here now, so his services are no longer.
Oh, dear. Here's taking over the Hardline, Mike and Corby.
I think we've already established the chemistry of the day, Mike.
It's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something we used to do. We don't really do that anymore.
Danny was just complaining that you guys don't talk at all when you're here. You don't communicate with him, and
he's very frustrated.
We were trying to determine whether or not who have you talked to more, Danny or your wife, off the air.
My wife.
Off the air?
Yeah.
Like spoken to or
Yeah.
texted?
FaceTime.
Sexted.
I think I've only talked to my wife once.
That's too much.
Definitely Danny.
So just as
once,
many times as I've been to Spencer McKenzie's.
You can get out of this with only talking to your wife once.
Was this including the we saw Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah.
You saw Reese Witherspoon?
Bob and I did, playing golf. We almost got an interview with her. Very nice lady.
You saw her in person for real?
Yeah, number 7 at Ojai.
Thumb up.
She was playing golf?
Yeah, she had a
She's not
gap
bad.
wedge that
Really?
went a little.
Where's my photo?
You know, we don't publish things like that, Dan.
You took a photo of Michael Jordan?
If you take a picture of her, she won't let you play with her again.
Yeah.
Got to be
You were
cool.
playing with her.
Did you ask her why she cheated on Adam Scott?
That's a show.
This is
Not
real life.
life. Yeah.
What do you mean show? She did not really? So she didn't cheat on him and their marriage is fine?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, he wasn't there.
Poor Derek.
And his name's Ed.
Yeah, I called by his name.
I'm sorry, you're right. Well, now that we're all here, let me tell you that today is Friday, August 2nd, the 214th day of the year. 151 days are left in 2019. You didn't go to the Habit today, did you?
Is this
No,
Friday follow-up?
that's why we rolled in a little late. Mike forgot that we had to work today,
That you had
so
a show.
he was late coming down to the car, and then it was a mess from there.
You okay, Mike?
I didn't forget we had to work today.
Are you wearing the same shorts for the 5th day in a row?
No, this is only the second day.
Okay.
I mean, did I wear these yesterday too?
Yeah, they stand out.
Yeah.
I like them.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought did, this was last week. Then I guess we're going on 2 days in a row.
Now, he did inquire.
Is this a tin of Skull?
No.
Looks like a tin in your pocket.
That's the idea, but it's really not.
He's just happy to see you.
It's a cheap lid.
Hey now.
He did ask me today, where can I do laundry? And,
Guess what I did?
What? Did
Same.
you do laundry?
I took a pillowcase off of one of my pillows. I took all the dirty laundry I have so far, stuffed it in that pillowcase. I brought it over to the laundromat over by Vaughn's, and I dropped it off. And she tells me
That's what I wanted to do too.
by 4 o'clock this afternoon it will be washed, folded, and bagged up,
For
ready
a minimal
for me to
price.
take.
He did ask me, he goes, where can I do laundry? And I said, up there by Vaughn's. And he said, where's Vaughn's?
Come on, bro. That's our home base for
Never been to Vaughn's.
15 years.
15 years you've never been to that
never
Vaughn's?
been to Vaughn's.
Stock up on some water or
But
some
Never been to
apples?
Vaughn's, and I never saw Avatar.
He knows where. He didn't know where it was. That was the most disturbing part.
What the heck, Mike?
Like, I've been there 7 times. no more this week.
Just
Look,
he doesn't keep his head up when we're driving, so he doesn't know where we really are. I'm not sure he could get home from here.
I did today.
How'd that go?
Great. Straight shot.
All right. Well,
look, I can't be bothered by these.
What I'm saying is, don't go
low-class
do your laundry
establishments.
yourself. Cumulus called,
Mm-hmm.
and they said they want us to drop our laundry off. That would be much more efficient. Maybe a couple more dollars, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man.
Let's see, on this day.
Where'd Jake go? Did he quit?
Finally.
He had to catch a flight somewhere, but he didn't say where.
Ah.
Flight my ass.
I think he's going to look into that ASAP Rocky situation.
It's shocking. Jake's going on another vacation. He's worse than Norm.
Seriously, man.
ASAP Ferg.
I don't know how he gets so many vacation days. Anyway, on this day in 1985, I know that I was here. Young Dan was here, visiting Uncle Gary on this day in 1985, because I do remember that this happened, because I believe my flight was still a week away. But this had Mom concerned, because on this day in 1985, Delta Flight 191 crashed at DFW Airport, resulting in over 100 fatalities. That was the wind shear, right?
Yes, it was.
Microburst.
That what they called it?
I think back then they didn't know what a microburst was.
123 people killed, I believe. August 2nd, 1985. And I believe I heard of that news happening and thought, all right, well,
all right.
We still going to the Ranger game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, is Six Flags still open?
Uncle Gary would
Shockwave's
drop
not
us
going to
off.
ride itself.
We would be dropped off at Wet and Wild.
Yep.
And go to a Ranger game almost every day.
It is
what a glorious day.
Hold on.
Truly amazes me how many times we were in the same spot. Like when I think about it, in the mid 80s, there's no doubt
you and I,
we were at Wet and Wild multiple days.
And I guarantee you, somewhere along the line,
What are you doing here?
you and I were in Arlington Stadium at the same time.
There's no doubt.
And I did the double all the time of Wet and Wild and then Ranger game.
That's all I remember doing.
Yeah, go sit in the bleachers.
Maybe a movie. I remember seeing Rocky, the one with Clubber Lang. I saw that Rocky here.
Yeah.
My privileged upbringing.
And then Aunt Terry wouldn't let us inside because she said boys had to be outside to play during the summer. So back then, apparently, they weren't worried about 100-degree weather.
No, you just
stay outside. You're not allowed in. You'll mess up the house.
So girls could stay inside?
Possibly. We didn't have any
they didn't
female
stink.
cousins, though. But her opinion was we weren't allowed to watch Three Stooges at Aunt Terry's house because of the violence.
Yeah, did you drink out of the hose?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because the Three Stooges were always doing this.
Yeah, poking each other in the eye. Anyway, wind shear day back in whatever year that was, 1985. Also on this day,
anyway,
in 1923, Major League Baseball postponed its entire schedule of games because of the death of President Warren Harding.
Oh. I thought you were going to say that
What was that like?
that fat umpire that died.
John McSherry?
From being fat?
No. In fact, I believe Marge Schott was a bit upset they postponed that game. Was she not?
She was. She needed the gate.
For Warren Harding?
In today's birthday news,
By the way, he was 29.
She was also upset about the Hitler suicide. So,
Warren Harding preceded by?
That would be Wilson.
And who came after him?
Coolidge.
I'm going to believe you. Happy birthday to myself, P1 Brad. Leader is Dingu. Leaders are Dingu, Julie, and Jake. I'd like to hear Tony having too much Woodford Reserve. That's from
I would too.
P1 Brad.
Brad.
I'm just killing time here.
I did drink too much Woodford Reserve.
Oh, there we go. By the way, Tony, let's check the old Twitter feed. I put that video of Tony up yesterday.
Yeah.
And we've been amazed watching the people who have viewed it. Now we're up to 23.2 thousand. 23,200 people have viewed you drunk on the dance floor, Tony.
Can we quit mentioning that?
What?
Can we what?
I'm still recovering.
Can we quit mentioning that?
Can you quit mentioning that?
Bob wants to get to 6 figs. I think that's way out of reach, but
Well, we got to build.
yeah.
You
don't
how
start.
How do you eat an elephant?
Start
right, Tony?
One at a time.
Well, what do you think, Tony? Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How do you eat an elephant?
My husband's
I'm gonna come on
37th
here. You're gonna say
birthday.
something.
It is from Nancy.
How do you
This
eat
is-
an elephant? Oh.
To Nancy.
So you're not going to go on there? You're not going to come on there?
Tony, stop talking unless you're into the mic.
But it's a-
Look, he's just so flustered after the other night.
But I'm not saying stop talking. I just turn your mic on. We're on radio. He did it again. He answered me off the air. We're on the radio. You need to.
He just look, Dan. It's been rough, and your Mac's clean. It's unbelievable.
Husband Drew,
Okay.
this is from Nancy. To Nancy.
All right.
Tony, will you come on?
Yeah.
P1 Greg.
Corby, you know who this is?
I want to
No.
know if Tony thinks
This is Phil, the Hollywood P1.
This is Phil. Hey,
Yes.
Phil.
Greg
How are you,
Seal.
buddy.
Yeah.
Does
who,
Tony believe golf is sacred? Tony.
Why is he talking off the air? I am.
You're not going to win.
I can hear. I can
You're not going to
barely-
win.
This is the most
barely in
unfocused
the
segment I've ever heard in my life.
No
Hilarious.
way.
You haven't heard nothing
It really
yet.
is.
We've done way more unfocused
You think?
segments.
Oh, no doubt.
Every day
No
at this
doubt.
time.
Wow. You guys are amazing. How do you do it? Every day.
Just wait till 4:30.
It's a gift.
Other birthday news.
Just wait till 4:30.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Let's see. Colby Lewis's birthday. Did you know that, Mina, when you made that open?
Total coincidence.
The snake.
Total coincidence.
Kristaps Porzingis.
That was Tony.
Crispy? Today's
Yeah.
Crispy's birthday.
Yeah. Grady Sizemore,
How old is
Houston Street.
Kristaps?
He's 26.
Only by his
24.
Right
24?
nickname.
Apollonia,
Is that why-
Billy Cannon,
Is that why Jake left?
Victoria Jackson, Cedric Sabalos, and Bob Nick Diaz.
Oh, wow.
It is seemingly Cedric Sabalos.
From Stockton, California.
Former
Dan.
guest of the show, right? No?
I don't think we've ever had Nick Diaz.
We've
on the
played his
show.
audio for sure, right?
We definitely have.
Yeah. Also, we have Garth Hudson, Mike.
Of the band.
Butch Patrick.
Munsters.
Munsters, yeah. He got into porn, right?
Mary Louise Parker.
Didn't every kid from the 60s
Yeah.
that didn't end up
You
as an
didn't
actor
see
get
the-
into porn?
Super
See the,
nasty Mary
porn
Louise
version
Parker.
of the Munsters?
What was it called, Line 4 guy?
The Munsters.
Kevin Smith.
I knew it was coming, but
Which
He's
one?
49.
It can't always
Former
be.
sidekick's great, the smudger.
It's
I
always,
believe
Or
the
former cowboy great.
it's always
the
Puff's
director.
birthday. Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the Hardline Zone.
Clerks.
Don't
I
you
met
think
his
he's
daughter.
overrated, Bob?
Yeah.
And Edward Furlong, who's pretty great, or at least had a good little run.
Yeah, you don't really want to be talking good about Ed Furlong, who, by the way, is in the new Terminator movie, but there's a lot of controversy because he beat up a lot of women along the way here in the last 10, 15 years, and
Look, can you celebrate
being called to the carpet now.
the artist?
Sometimes they don't
The
listen.
art for the
Yeah.
artist?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What?
What did he say?
I don't know.
He said sometimes they just don't listen. And I should have
That was
dubbed
a
it.
drop.
But instead, you decided, let's say it clean.
Double
Okay.
down a little bit.
All right, now,
I have a birthday,
That was
Dan, if you
better
wouldn't mind.
decision, I think.
here's Not Paola with Mike.
Not Plugola.
Happy birthday to Robert Hibbler, to Brent Espy,
The Hibbler.
And to
Robert
Clayton
Hitler.
Bowen.
Robert Hitler?
No, he's one continent away.
Oh,
Back to you,
man.
Dan.
Almost, dude.
Clayton Bowen, huh?
Yes.
He's my neighbor.
Is he?
Yep.
Is that
Good dude.
Dan's brother-in-law?
Yes.
Who we? Clay Travis? You thought that was a good joke?
No.
No.
Just fired it anyway.
That was really the most focused segment we've ever done.
We're only supposed to try to crack good jokes?
Oh, now you tell me.
25 years later, you told me?
All right, now here's spares.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to box me into a corner.
Sure, everybody knows I'm hanging around Denton a little bit.
Do you play hoop anymore at all?
Do you play hoop anymore?
Do you play hoop anymore at all?
At all.
At all.
At all.
Hoop.
Tony Amante is 49.
Tony Amante.
Friend of the show.
Really?
Probably a liner in there. Somewhere deep.
Hockey.
Yes. Team USA.
See? I remember.
Golden Tate is 31.
Golden Tate.
Who's he with now?
Did he get PED'd?
What? Philly gave up a third rounder for him.
Seems like an odd place to have.
Yeah, but he's a giant now, and I
accessorized in that fashion.
think he got
He got
suspended.
busted. There was something in a fertility drug he took, and he's out for 4 games.
Oh, he was trying to get pregnant.
Do you think it's actually
He
a procedure,
says-
line poor guy?
Golden Taint.
Yeah. Do you think that's a procedure you could
You
get
thought that was
to-
good?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems an odd thing to
I'm happy
have,
with that one.
Highlighted or.
But what did I say, Danny, in case Bob missed it?
Golden
I don't know.
Taint.
No.
Taint.
I
Danny-
mean, you
Danny
should
checked out.
understand the grill,
Okay.
right? Like the teeth, because that's like you
Okay.
can see them all the time we smile.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to add
Golden
up
Tate.
here why Mike has been all out of sorts.
Oh, really?
Having trouble finding
Are you sitting down, Mike?
the hotel.
This is
and
more a little bit more of a
Mike, sit
niche
down.
procedure.
Yeah,
Mike is not telling
probably not
us
covered by insurance.
that today is the 46th birthday of Mike Venafro.
Whoa.
Dude.
Is he a
Whoa.
Ranger?
Yes, Mike. He was
know
ever a
he
Ranger.
What'd
was
you
a
say?
Ranger.
You guys.
Was he hard?
Oh.
Is that why you're wearing the Road Venafro today? It
Was
all
he
makes
hard?
sense.
Man, the amount of
road.
time
That's right. It's Fro's birthday.
that he used to shove
Gotta
me up
represent.
against a wall
Bro
and
knows.
talk about Mike Venafro and how he's
Look.
going to change the game.
Oh, my gosh.
Someday, Fro's going to get us a
Bro.
pennant.
He's the first
Talk
7-pitch
about
pitcher
pro.
ever in the major leagues.
Tim Wakefield's 53. The great Ed West
knuckleballer.
is 58. And that's it.
Born on this day, now dead. Wes Craven. Andrew Gold. Bad lyrics, Lonely Boy.
Nothing on Wes Craven, line 4 guy?
You think those were bad lyrics?
Yeah.
Bob, the jokes write themselves.
He was 2 when his mother had the next kid. and
Yeah,
then-
but they dressed him up warmly.
Yeah,
They
it's-
sent him to school.
I just feel like the
They
2-year-old
taught
isn't
him how to
reacting
fight,
like that, you know?
be nobody's fool.
Also,